So guys, welcome back to another YouTube tutorial. So today I'm going to be teaching the kind of like introduction to the particle system in Blender, and it's going to be project based, which we will be exploring how to create a fireworks inside of Blender. So I'm just going to basically covering what particle simulation does and the things that we can use it for, and then also cover some basic parameters. So let's just dive right into it. So I'm going to create a new project, Control N, General. Just going to save this. So so we have our default cube right here. So we need to go to the particle system right here and just click the plus button to add a new particle system. And when you run your simulation by pressing the play button, you'd have your particle emitters coming in. Right. So this is just a very, very basic particle simulation, and it runs through down till the end of your timeline, which is 250, right, on the default. Yeah, so basically we could come down here and change the number of particles to put like 100, right? When you press play, you can see the number of particles has reduced drastically. When you put it like to 5,000 and enter, you can see, right, it's coming up like a lot more. So this is how to control the numbers of particles. This for frame start, it just tells you where the particle is going to start from frame 1 and then end, meaning it's going to end at frame 200. So when we take this to, let's say, frame 50, meaning it's going to start at frame 1 and end at frame 50. So when it gets to 50, you're going to stop right here. Can you see? And when you change it to maybe like 100, it extends where the particle stops emitting. So this gives you some level of control on how the particle system works, right? Yeah, so the next thing here is the lifetime. So this the next option here is the lifetime, which is 50. So it just tells you like how long the particles are gonna last in the air. Let's take it to 10. So we're just playing the values to explore how it works, right? You can see how it doesn't fall down too long. So this kind of extends tell you how long it's gonna fall. When we take lifetime to like, let's say to like 200, you see it's gonna drop so long. You can see how long it's going. You can see that. So lifetime controls that aspect. And of course, randomness, lifetime randomness gives you more randomness, meaning the particles are going to move in a different behavior in start. So when you like change the lifetime to the lifetime randomness to 0, it just makes it fall just in a more straight way. You get. Yeah, so that's the basic of that. So the next thing, how do we control the direction of our particles, right? So when we go down to so first of all, we have when we go down to force field, we have the gravity. So gravity is defaultly turned on in Blender to simulate the real life gravity, right? Meaning when you throw something up, it naturally comes down. So let's play this and let's just put gravity to 0, right? You see that everything just stays moves in space, just like how things works in space. You understand? So there's no gravity anymore. So everything just goes on the direction of the um velocity based on physics. Do you understand? Yeah, so when we reduce the gravity to like let's say 0.1 and enter, you see that it's falling down gradually. You can see. So let's take back gravity to the default, which is 1, right? Fall down the way it should. So let's explore the next thing called we go to physics. And we have physics time, we have Newton physics, we have kid, we have void, we have fluid. So each of these options gives a different particle behavior to your simulation. You understand? So when we change this to probably kid, it's going to give us something way, way different. You can see. So this just tells you could control your particles to simulate whatever you're trying to simulate. So let's take this back to the, I think Newton. Yeah. So let's go to velocity. Yeah, so when we play, so default velocity is at 1. So mind you, it's the particle moves based on the normal of a mesh. So that's why we have normal by the side. So when we click on, let's change this value. Let's put like maybe 2. So you see that it's going to push the particles further. based on the high number of our velocity. Do you understand? Can you see this now? Let me change this to like 5 and see what's gonna happen. Let's take it back. Wait, sorry, let me reduce my playhead to like 70s just for fast preview. So it looks very fast here. So can you see? And bring it to like 10. You see what's happening, right? So it pushes us off so fast. Yeah, so let's take the number back to default, which is 1. So also when you like play with some values and you've messed things up, right? And you can't remember what it was at the beginning, you can just right click on the number area, just look for reset to default value, and click on that. It's going to reset the value to what it was from the beginning, which is 1, right? So now, secondly, how do we control the direction of our particles? Maybe you want to go right, left, front, or back, up or down. You can use the object aligned on X, Y, or Z axis. So let's go on the Z axis. Let's say we want this to shoot up, right? You can go on the Z axis, you can put like 5 there. You can see shooting up, but it's still falling down. Do you understand? So the higher the number, of course, it should higher, more higher. Do you understand? So we go on the Y value, it pushes it to the Y value, which is the side. You can see I'm using the gizmo to know. So this gizmo here shows our Y as a green color, which is this green line here. So it's pushing it towards the Y value. When we take the Y value back to 0, so let's use the X. Let's see what happens on the X value. You can see it's going towards the X. So that's how to manipulate your particles direction. Okay, so that being said, so with this, I want to see how you can create your first water fountain. Just try to create a water fountain with these basic particles that I've showed you, which is very easy. So I hope you can do that on your own. Yeah. So I know how water fountain reacts. Like the water just basically coming. The water basically just shoots up and fall off, right? Like they shoot up this way and fall off, something like this. Yeah, shoot up and fall off. Yeah, so you can create a water fountain using those particular settings that I've showed you in the particle system. Yeah, so just try to do that on your own as your class task to do. So let's go forward to the fireworks. All right, so for the fireworks, I'm just going to delete this cube, and I'm going to be using icosphere, which is this one here, right here. So I'm going to scale it down a little bit. I'm going to duplicate this, Shift D on the x-axis, just move it far off, right? Yeah. So we're going to rename the duplicates, right, to particles, right? Particle, particle, and now we need to rename this. So we're going to animate this to move up, like how a fire works. So I'm going to go to this. Let me view from the y angle, right? So I'm going to set a keyframe. That's frame 1, right? Press I, set a keyframe on location, and then let's use frame 50. Let's push it up somewhere around here and set another keyframe. Yes. So if you're using Blender 4.0, when you press I, you would have this menu showing right here. So for mine, my menu did not show because I'm using Blender 4.1. I just set a keyframe for all values. So if you're using Blender 4.1 and you want to choose whatever keyframe options, just press K instead, letter K, right? You're in your hand, you can choose your location or location and rotation, whatever values you want to keyframe. So, but if you're using Blender 4.0 downwards and press I, you get this menu. So you can use location to keyframe, or you can use location rotation to keyframe that. Yeah. So we have this animation, right? Very basic, just very straightforward animation, right? Nothing complex. So let's extend our play our end timeline to the default, which was 250, because I changed mine. So make sure you change it back if you had alter yours to 250, right? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do right here is to select the microsphere which we first created, right? And go to the particle settings and add a new particle with a plus icon. Yeah, so when we play, we have something like this. Now you can see we have our firework shooting up and having like a particle trail, right? So fireworks trail is not this long. It's not this like long, right? So we need to reduce the lifetime. So follow me as I just click in this setting. So for the number, I'm going to use value of, let's say you use 600, right? For the frame start at 1, frame end. So it's going to be ending at frame 50, meaning when it plays and gets to 50, which is this point where we get to the highest point in the timeline, it's going to stop, and then we'll pick up another new particle system from there. So when we play, we have this happening. So it's basically just going to stop. You understand? So let's reduce the lifetime, which is, let's use 8. This is 8. Yes, this is better. It's shorter, right? So this is better. And then for the random, let's just use 1 for randomness to give more randomness to our particles. So the next thing we need to we want to have these particles, right, to um have an instance of this object, because when you render this view, you're not going to see these particles, right? These are just like a halo. So let me show you what I mean. And I go to my camera view here. Let me press N to lock the camera to view, right? And I pan to look at my particles, and I just go to render quickly. So you can see there is no particles showing in my renders, just the emitter. Yeah, so we can see there is no particles showing in our renders. So let's just cancel this and exit our camera view. So we can see that's the reason why we need to have this object as a reference to the particles, right? So how do we do that, Rose? Select your emitter and go right down to render. Just look for render down here and open up the settings here. And you see render as, you see halo, right? So click that and switch to object, right? You go to the instance object and you can now pick your particles, right? You can pick it from here, or you can pick it from the viewport. Let's see where it's, I think somewhere down here. Or you can pick it from the viewport. You can just, let's cancel this. You can just click on the eyedropper tool and just select it from here. So either ways works, right? Yeah, so that's it. So you can see now the halo has taken shape of our particle instance that we created, which is the icosphere. Can you see that now? So when we go to render and render image, you can see we have our particles showing in our renders now, which is perfect. So mind you, we don't want this emitter to show in the final render, so we're going to hide this from the renders. So how do we do that? Close this. We come down to in the render tab still, uncheck the show emitter box. So let's check that out again. Image render, and you see this now. You can see the icosphere is hidden from the camera. We just want the particles. So I have to simulate this again so we can see what's going on. Yeah, so this is what we want, right? So next thing, we're done with the first particles, right? So we need the one that's going to have that explosion once it gets to frame 50. So what do we do next? We just go to the particle system right here and go way up and add a new particle system. So this one is going to be for the explosion, to create the actual fireworks explosion, right? So for the numbers, we're going to use 4,000. We're going to be using, you're going to be starting at frame 50, since the first one is ending at frame 50. And let's end this at frame 90. Lifetime, let's use 150 so that's going to fall down and not fall down too short. Then, of course, one for the randomness. So let's play this until we have so far. Yes. So of course, it's still coming down with the hello. We need to like switch that to the instance object. So let's go down to render as, select hello, switch it to object, and select that same particle. So let's play again and see. Awesome, this is what we want, right? So mind you, it's not yet spreading out like a fireworks explosion. We need to tweak the gravity settings. So let's go to the gravity. Mind you, this second particle system is what we are editing, not the first one, right? So go down to field weights and change gravity to 0.1, 0.1, and let's just play that again. Awesome. So that's it. And it's as simple as that. So you can also hide this also from the camera view so that it doesn't render because we don't really need it, right? Just click on this. So it doesn't show in your final render. So now the next thing we need to like give our material to the fireworks. We need that glow effect. We need those sparkles, those colors, right? So how do we do that? So next thing we need to go to the shading tab and make sure you're selecting the particle object, which is this. This is what we're going to be shading, not the other one, this one. So we're going to click on new. Yeah, so delete the principal BSDF, select it by pressing X, Shift A, and add an emission node. Just type emission. You see emission. So let's drop it here. And connect emission to surface. And then let's add Shift A, add an object data. Sorry, object info. Click on that and connect the location to color. So let's use a strength of like 40 for the strength. And so this is going to give us like a random colors based on the location of our object since we've already added the keyframe. Yeah, so what do we do? Let's go back to the layout, right? And let's press Z to switch to render tab, or you can come here and switch to render tab from the icon here. So let's go to the render properties here. We're using Eevee, right? So check up these boxes. Ambient occlusion, check bloom. You can check the screen space reflections, right? So when we take back and we play our simulations, we have this now. You can see very easy as that, simple as that. So how do you quickly render our fireworks, right? We just need to click on this world settings. Let's have a dark environment so that the vibrant colors can be very visible. So let's go and see. Awesome. Can you see? So you can set up your camera, right? Click on your camera and basically just zoom out and just pan to set it up to capture the whole frame. So you can switch the camera resolution by clicking on your output and just swapping this aspect ratios, right? So take 1080 up and 920 down. So I'm going to change here to 1080, right? And then the y-axis is going to be 1920 and enter. So we have this Instagram or TikTok style of resolution. It captures everything. Well, let me see zoom in to capture more of the fireworks, right? Awesome. So if you want, you can also keyframe your camera by selecting the camera from here or from here. Either way, so you can press I to keyframe, and as it goes up, let me just zoom in so I capture the beauty of the explosion, right? And I set another keyframe here. You can see it's you can decide to zoom out at this point to capture the widespread, right? I set another keyframe, so when you play, the camera animates. Awesome, awesome, and that's it. So all you need to do is just to select your render output choose where you want to save it and rename it and accept, right? Then change the file format from PNG to FFmpeg video, because we want to render as a video format. Then go to encoding, select the preset and pick H264 Imatros card. Just select that one time and that's it. You just have to go to render and click on render animation. So I've already rendered this. I'm not going to do it again, and that's it. You can, if you want your render to be fast, you could just go to your render tab here, go to your EV sampling. You can just use like maybe 12 or 10. Doesn't really matter. It's going to still work for what we want to do. It's going to be really fast. If your system is not very strong, yes, you can do that. So and that's it. So finally, one more thing. So how do you control the colors of your fireworks? Let's say you are given a project to do, and the client wants you to have maybe orange and yellow, orange and red fireworks, right? The color. How do you do that? So you can just go back to the shading tab and just zoom out. So let's just focus on the explosion part, right? So select the particle to see your material, right? So just extend this object info and add a color ramp. Shift A, add a color ramp to your node setup. So just drop it in between emission and object info. So you can see it has turned into white, meaning that we can even just change this color to, let's say, yellow, and change this to, bring this up and change it to red. Just bring the slider down. Of course, it's not going to show yet, so we need to unplug this factor from location and use the random instead. So you can see, can you see the two colors showing, right? So if you want them to be like distinct, right, each boy can switch linear to constant. So we can see, we have more red because we have on the sliders we have more red right here. So when we take in the yellow, you can see they're sharing the same amount of particles. So it depends on how you want it. So you can create, if you want your ease, go back to your ease, right? So that you blend things more smoothly. So that's how to change your colors. You can see add more colors, right? By clicking the plus icon and selecting the cube here. You can change the color. Let's say you want green. We've added green. And see we have some green. You want more, you can click on the plus icon. Select it, switch your color to, let's say, blue, right? Let's use constant so that we can see the distinction. You can see we have different kind of colors right here. So that's basically how to play with your colors, right? So, and also if you want to like take out any of this you don't like, select it and use the minus key, minus button here to remove that color that you don't want. So guys, that's how to go about the playing with colors that you like. So thank you so much for sticking by the tutorial and hope this helps. If you have any other question, please don't hesitate to drop in the comment section. Cheers and have a great one.